You're the mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. Welcome back to Lorcana Villain. I got tongue-tied straight away. I don't care, I'm keeping it in. It is indeed Christmas Day, and who'da thunk it? My favourite Christmas character is the Grinch. Universal Studios give me the job of being the guy that dresses up as the Grinch and just runs around Universal Studios to annoy people. I would be the best in the world at it. But welcome back to Lorcana Villain. It is indeed Christmas Day, but there'll be top 8 deck lists to go through, and I am running a little bit late. So yes, we're going to dive straight into the lists from PPG Orlando, which took place on the 22nd of December. So like I said, sorry I'm late. There were 37 players. Unfortunately, I don't have a breakdown for all the inks used for the complete player ink breakdown. But we do have a top 8, and there are a couple of interesting things to talk about, so let's jump right in. So I'll tell you straight away. 4 Ruby Amethyst, 1 Steel Amber Songs, 3 different decks, so that's not bad as far as variation goes in this format. But yes, in first place we have Frank with some Amethyst Steel Ping Control, a deck that is gaining traction and popularity, very much so. So let's have a look. We've got 4 copies of Forceful Duelist Captain Hook, one as a fantastic 1-drop with Challenger 2, so I can hit for 3 when challenging. So really good in our meta at the moment, especially against a lot of Amethyst options and of course other steel stuff. So yeah, Captain Hook getting a lot of value. We also see the 4 copies of Prince Eric in here as well, just really prioritizing that early aggression, which does make sense in a format that has sped up so much. I like these guys were all over Season 1 format. At the beginning of this meta, they've fallen off, but they're quickly coming back because they are just cheap response cards to a very fast meta. So love to see it. We've got our traditional 4 counts of Snake, Fox, both Madam Mim, and we have 4 Merlin, Goat, and Rabbit. We've got 4 copies of Maleficent. We're also running 2 copies of Benja, respecting the meta for some item removal, Sleepy's Flutes, Sorcerer's Spellbooks, Ursula's Shell Necklace, not in these set of top 8s, but recently came up, and other choice items of the meta. We are running a 3-4 Tinkerbell line. I've said this many times, I do really like running the 3 Tiny Tactician, or a count of Tiny Tactician to go along with your Shifted Tink. I just think that's really powerful in this meta at the moment. 4 copies of Tragic Hero Beast, one of the most powerful cards in Steel, going to be our only reliable draw in the Steel options. Obviously there's Amethyst draw, but we're not running a whole new world here, which I don't hate. We've got plenty of draw going on, and Beast as well should put in a shift, so you love to see it. 3 copies of Yzma to remove opposing threats, or to remove our own characters just to get some draw, and of course works well with our bounce related characters such as Goat and Rabbit. We've got 3 copies of Elsa slowly slipping her way back into more and more lists in Chapter 2. Was always a strong card, fell off at first, but 3 copies here, obviously put in work, taking Frank all the way to first place. We have 2 copies of Smash, which I really like. Again, Strength of a Raging Fire a lot of the time is good enough, but sometimes it's just not, and it's important to be able to remove that aerial, that dock, whatever it is, Arthur straight away. So you love to see it. Only 3 copies of Friends on the Other Side, which is something we saw from, it was the Lorcana Network, I can't remember the official name of it, the Lorcana Online tournament that we had maybe 2 weeks ago, the biggest field we've had so far, a Pixelborn tournament, where they didn't do a top cut, they just did, I think it was 7 rounds, maybe more, but nonetheless, we looked at the 9th place list from Zach Bivens, who was also running Steel Amethyst, and also opted for only 3 copies of the Friends on the Other Side. So it seems strange to me, I said that at the time, but these players know what they're doing and achieved high results, so listen to the data. We've got 4 copies of Let the Storm Rage On as nice cheap removal plus drawing a card. Strength for a Raging Fire, as I said, so that we can hit those higher numbers with ping. And of course 4 Grab Your Swords for some spread damage and a lot of characters who can sing this. So yeah, deck looks really good. Amethyst Steel, ping control. I expect to see it a lot more. Maybe as I think the meta's going to become a lot healthier. I think we're almost done with the just Ruby Amethyst and Steel Amber decks. Don't get me wrong, like they are 5 out of 8 of these lists, but we are seeing other inks claw their way into these top 8 positions. So yeah, I think the meta will continue to grow and be healthier than I feel like it's been for the last for its existence so far. But yeah, congratulations to Frank on a first place finish. Into our second place list, we have Amber Amethyst. So Ruby Amethyst and Steel Amber, prominent as always, but did not secure a finals position. But yeah, we've got bulky aggro. So we're an aggro deck. So of course we've got Making a Wish, Lilo, and Biding Her Time, Maleficent, 1-drops, Uninkables, 1/1 stat line, but quest for 2, nice and aggressive. We've also got 4 copies of Pinocchio, Star Attraction, basically Lilo and Maleficent, but a level up. Uninkable, 2 cost, 1/1 stat line, but quest for 3. So these are our main aggressive questing characters, but of course we've also got the 4 count of Pascals here, which are really good when you've got a wide board. They're going to be nice and annoying, so they're aggressive as well. We've also got 4 copies of Bodyguard Simba to act as a protection for these low cost characters. So turn 1, 1-drop of Maleficent or Lilo. Turn 2 Simba is normally your preference play. We've got 4 copies of Arthur, leaning into what we want to do. We're an aggressive deck. We don't want a long game. We just want to win as quick as possible. So he's going to help bounce back these vulnerable high questing characters to keep them safe and work along with our bounce related characters. In that vein, we've also got 4 copies of Madam Mim Fox and 4 copies of Merlin Goat. We see no rabbit in here. We see no snake. We do see 4 Maleficent for some extra draw. We've got 4 copies of Rapunzel in this particular deck, which does make sense given some of the I suppose you could call them techs in this deck. 4 friends on the other side, as I said. I didn't say, but I've said it now. But then slightly more interesting, we've got 4 copies of Just in Time, first of all, who was kind of around season 1, has really dropped off season 2, and I think quite rightfully so. I think it's really high roll. An action, 3 cost and uninkable, you may play a character with 5 cost or less for free. But we are running a lot of 5 cost characters in that vein. We've got 4 copies of Maximus, 5 cost inkable with a 4/5 stat line, quest for 1, and both the bodyguard and support ability, so we can cheat him out with Just in Time, and he's just going to be great for just protecting our more vulnerable characters, and hopefully with that 4 strength, which is respectable, we're doing some damage in return. Also 4 copies of Goofy, exactly the same as Maximus, but without support and with slightly different stats. 1 more, so a 3/6 stat line, so 1 less strength, 1 more willpower, and of course the Musketeer ability is irrelevant because we're not running any other Musketeers. And then we see 4 copies of Eudora, 5 cost inkable with a 1/9 stat line, quest for 2, which makes a lot of sense. She is going outside of hard removal, and if they use their hard removal cards, they're using them. Then they're not being used on Maximus and Goofy and other things like that, so it's still not the end of the world. But anything that wants to ping, you're going to have to ping a lot to get this Eudora out of here. So yeah, really like it. Reinforces the 4 Rapunzel having these big bulkier characters. I'm still not a huge fan of Just in Time, but Timothy took this deck to 2nd place, and I really like the Eudora, so yeah, well done to Timothy. Love to see it. Now our Ruby Amethyst decks take up the 3rd through to 6th positions. So we've got 7 1-drops, 4 Mini, 3 Olaf. We've got 4 Snake, 4 Fox, 4 Goat, 3 Rabbit, and the 2 Crab, which is becoming more and more common. 4 Maleficent in here, and 4 Stylish Surfer Mini for some extra aggressive questing. We've got 4 Maui to deal with problems, Yzma to either deal with problems or give us some more resources / work well with our bounce characters. 4 copies of Lady Tremaine, one of the best removal cards in the game at the moment. 1 copy of Ursula, making her way into more and more Ruby Amethyst lists just because she's big, bulky. She offsets the lore race. Sometimes that just denying on 1 is all you need, but if you can get multiple uses out of Ursula through your bounce cards, Snake, Fox, etc., then even better, and drawing a card is always good. So yeah, I really like Ursula as an include in these current Ruby Amethyst lists. We are all in on the Maleficent. Sometimes that's just a 2 or 3 count, but we're all in here. 3 copies of Teeth and Ambition is a great response to Aggro and Steel Amber Songs to a degree. 4 copies of Friends on the other side, 4 Be Prepared, and 1 Sorcerer's Spellbook. A shell that looks pretty much exactly the same as it looked a couple of weeks ago, except Ursula is creeping into more and more decks. But it's tried, it's tested, and it led George to a 3rd place finish, so congratulations to them. In 4th place, we've got Robert, and the only difference is there is 1 less Mini, so 1 less 1-drop, and 1 more Ursula. Like, literally exactly the same, except one less mini, one more Ursula. So yeah, we've just spoke about all of this. So congratulations to Robert on a 4th place finish. Next up, we've got Cody in 5th place with a few variations. We've got only 4 1-drops, just the 4 mini. We see the traditional counts of Snake, Fox. We see 3 Crab in this particular build, 4 Goat and only 3 Rabbit. Only 3 Maleficent here. We're also running 2 copies of Arthur here, which I like as a 1 or a 2 count, even if you're not all in on it. But we're also running 3 copies of LeFou in that vein to help us get more aggression out of that. We are also running 2 copies of Magic Broom, who's made their way into I think this is the 2nd top 8 list, this format, where that has been an include. Yeah, I mean, I still don't think the game reliably goes long enough for you to watch. Like, don't get me wrong, there are times it's going to be good to recycle your Tremaines, your Ursulas, your Be Prepareds, your Dragon's Fires, which are in this, like anything, not anything, but a lot of things are good targets. But I think most of the time the game goes too quickly for this to reliably be getting value over the course of an entire tournament's worth of games. But 2 count served Cody well, so you'd love to see it. 4 goes of Stylish Surfer. We've got the 4 Maui. Only 2 Yzma and 3 Tremaine. But we do see the 2 Ursula. Only 2 Maleficent in this list. So lower counts of the more high-end stuff, which I do respect. Just make sure you're getting into the game. And, you know, we've got some extra early stuff going on in the Arthurs and the LeFous. We are seeing the 2 copies of Dragon's Fire here, which I really respect. Sometimes Tremaine just is not enough. So I like seeing these creep their way back into lists. 4 friends on the other side, 4 Be Prepared, and 1 Sorcerer's Spellbook. So yeah, a bit of variation in this particular list. A little bit more early to mid-game heavy, and a bit lighter on the late end. But I don't disagree with this at all. I think that's probably the most consistent way to play this deck. So yeah, congratulations to Cody. And then in 6th place, we have Nicholas. I've put an exclamation point there where it should have been a slash. Never mind. We got R, exclamation point A, Bounce Crab. Only 2... Oh, okay, we see the 4 pack. Yeah, so 6 1-drops, 2 Olaf, 4 Pascal. We see the traditional Snake, Fox, 2 Crab, 4 Goat, 4 all the way on the 4 Rabbits in this list, 4 Maleficent. We're all the way in on the Arthurs and the LeFous at a 4 count each, so even more into that strategy. 4 Stylish Surfer Mini, only 2 Maui here. I always like that to be at least a 3, but that's my preference. We're all in on the Tremaines and the Maleficents. I like seeing the 2 Dragon's Fire, 4 friends on the other side, 4 Be Prepared. So no Spellbook, but yeah, I really like a lot more aggressive early to mid game, which is why I think you probably could lower down to like maybe a 3 count of Maleficent, but that's probably about it. Like, yeah, for the 3rd Maui for me more than anything, but again, preference, and led Nicholas to a 6th place finish. So congratulations to them. We'll do 7th place last. It's the most interesting. So we'll go to 8th place now. We've got Jeffrey with some Steel Amber Lantern rock songs. So we've got 4 copies of Ballroom Sensation Cinderella. Great for singing our songs nice and cheap. In that vein, we only have 2 copies of the Stout-Hearted Cinderella as well. We see no Knight in Training Cinderella. But in terms of our song count, we've got 3 Storm Rage On, 3 Strength of a Raging Fire, 4 copies of A Whole New World, and 3 Grab Your Sword. So a lighter song package, but we're only running the 2 Stout-Hearted, and we're not running Sleepy's Flute, so fair enough. We are running the 3 Lantern though. We are running the 4/4 line of Stitch and Rockstar Stitch for the adoring fans, and just because he be aggressive in himself. 4/4 line of Queen to also be aggressive and manipulate the strength of onboard characters. Only 3 copies of Simba, but it works as an adoring fan, and we're going to help protect our Cinderella, our Stitch, all that sort of stuff. 4 copies of Ariel to find those songs and sing them cheap. 2 copies of Benja, respecting the meta, removing lanterns, sorcerer spell books, all that sort of stuff. 3 copies of Rapunzel, 3 copies of Tragic Hero Beast, which I always like as a 4, but 3 is better than 2, is better than 1, is better than none, so we take the 3. Only 4 copies of Giant Fairy. I say only, meaning we're not seeing any of the Tiny Tactician in this list, but fair enough. 2 copies of Surfer Stitch for some extra draw, and yes, this is only 59 cards. I'll show you. I've rebuilt I tend to rebuild most of the lists, but usually I find the lists in a Dreamborn state, and then I still just duplicate it and put it in my own name. But this particular list, there was no Dreamborn version. It was this photo here, and please feel free to pause here and count for me, but I am not seeing a 60th card here. Please point it out for me if you can see it, but I'm not seeing it. So question mark over what the 60th card is, but led Jeffrey to a 8th place finish, so congratulations to them. And now, for a little bit of spice. In 7th place, we have Robert with some Emerald Steel Lifters. That is the name of that. Like, I'm always open to someone coming up with better names for decks than me, and if theirs sounds better, I'll swap to theirs. This is not one of those times. This is the name of that deck. Tell me I'm wrong. Emerald Steel Lifters. Because, of course, you're all thinking about it. You're all looking at it. Look at this incredible bit of spice, which just brings absolute tears to my eyes. I am so touched. We see the 4 copies of HORACE! No good scoundrel! Sorry, I'm clapping too much, but the situation called for it. 3 cost uninkable with a 4/3 stat line. Quest for 1 with the flavor text. Well, they ain't here, Jasper. Jasper has been in the meta since the beginning of the game, and he has been alone. He left HORACE all the way behind. I want to see some hype in the comments for my man, HORACE. Caught up. Yo, he's got a word to have with you, Jasper. But yeah, big man HORACE, the most important part of this deck. There's also weight set here, which is a 3-cost inkable with the training ability. Whenever you play a character with 4 strength or more, you may pay 1 ink to draw a card. So yeah, that works fine with our other characters that have 4 strength. But HORACE, man! But yeah, we of course have 4 line of both Hook and Eric. We talked about these being really good in the current meta. I'll check you out, HORACE. 4 copies of Prince Naveen, 4 copies of Arthur, and 4 copies of Varana, and 4 copies of Cerberus. Just bulk all those because they are they don't have an ability, but they all fit our need for a character with 4 strength or more so that we can draw cards, and a couple of them be questing quite high, Arthur and Varana, and yeah, like, I can absolutely see why this was an annoying deck to face. 4 copies of Beast, who also fills that condition of having 4 strength, and again, we've talked about Beast a lot, not a consistent star of the meta, but still a powerful card that, like, yeah, definitely would have put work in this particular list. 4 copies of John Silver, which we always like to see, annoying our opponent. He big, he bulky, he quest big, and he makes our opponent play in ways they don't want to play. 4 copies of Giant Tink, 4 Fire the Cannons, and 4 Storm Rage On, and 4 Strength for a Raging Fire, and 4 Grab Your Swords, all as chip cards that will also help to trigger our Beast. And then, of course, the weight set, which is inspiring. But HORACE, I'm so proud of HORACE. But yeah, love this. Keen to try it. Will you be trying this deck? Let me know. But yeah, congratulations, Robert, for giving us some something very different to look at and talk about. So yeah, Emerald Steel Lifters, you'll love to see it. And that is it for the top 8 deck list for PPG Orlando. So yeah, other decks starting to steal some more of those top 8 places, and I do think that will continue as the meta goes on. Don't get me wrong, Ruby Amethyst is still, and Steel Amber are probably still going to be, that you're not going to wipe them out of top 8 lists, but I think we will compete a bit more. I think Steel Amethyst is really strong. Emerald Steel is really strong. Like, everything's strong. We just need, like, more players playing other decks, and we'll see it. But yeah, that's pretty much it concerning the actual content of the video. But wanted to end off on just a little something. I wanted to leave this to the end because I didn't want to talk about something that's, I suppose, maybe kind of sad at the beginning. But yeah, it's Christmas Day. I was very, like, last night, so some people may be new to my channel and may not be aware of this. I've mentioned it before, but yeah, I am a full-time carer for my mum. I moved home 4 years ago. I moved away from home when I was 18, and then I lived away from home, travelled a lot for work until I was just coming up to 30 years old. And yeah, I moved home and became a full-time carer for my mum. And so yeah, Christmases used to look a lot different for me in the past. A lot of the time, like, I would be working, I would be away from home, which, you know, was bittersweet because I was sad because, like, my mum's alone. I have other family, but they are geographically in other places. But yeah, so, like, that was always sad, but she always supported me chasing my dream. But yeah, like, it's nice to have been home the last few years, not out of the best circumstances necessarily, but it's been good to be able to, like, spend Christmases with her. Last night we had a nice Christmas Eve and we watched the new Indiana Jones film, The Dial of Destiny. She picked it, she wanted to watch it. I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, and as I was watching it, I was thinking, There's going to be a lot of really hardcore Indiana Jones fans that are really going to hate this, but for what it's worth, I enjoyed it, and she enjoyed it, so that made me enjoy it even more. Currently, she got up for a couple of hours Christmas morning, but she's now had to go to bed. She can't stay. She gets tired a lot. So that's why I've took the opportunity to just do some work and, you know, do something. But I wanted to bring this up more than anything, just as I want to say Merry Christmas to every one of those of you that are spending it with family and friends. I wish you health, happiness. I hope it's everything, especially if you're lucky enough to be in a household where you've got younger people who still carry a lot of that Christmas magic. And I'm not saying you can't carry that Christmas magic if you're older, but you know what I mean. It's different. I've done a lot as an actor. I've done a lot of Christmases where, like, I've worked with children over Christmas, so like I've seen it a lot, and like anyone that's spent Christmases in households that have younger children, that's always like quite touching to get to see. But I also wanted to take the time to talk to those, like, just to those of you that may be working over Christmas, so you're away from family, or maybe you're away from family or friends for whatever reason it is. I want to say to you, have a good day. You got this. My brother, my sister, gets better. It really does. And yeah, I hope everyone's able to have a great day, a Merry Christmas, whatever the holidays look like for you. I hope it's a good one. And yeah, like, again, the idea of that wasn't to be too sad. It was just to be like just straight forthcoming and just say hi. I know what it's like sometimes to like sit for Christmas is not to feel like they did when we were younger necessarily. To those of you that are having a fantastic Christmas, I'm genuinely glad to hear it. It warms my heart to look on social media and see people sharing pictures of like opening their presents and at the dinner table. It's really nice to see. But to those of you that don't have that, I see you. But that's it from me for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.